the history of the coming of the children of Israel out of their long bondage in Egypt is descriptive of the human mind or consciousness growing up out of the animal or sense part of man and into the spiritual part. That's how Unity's foundational text, Lessons in Truth by Emily Cady, begins. This is the opening sentence in the first chapter, Bondage or Liberty, which? So it may be the most read passage in Unity, and it conveys the universal truth that we are not in bondage to the flesh, but rather we are spiritual beings endowed with a liberty which only flows from our mystical oneness with God. And now, for the first time, Emily Cady's well-loved passage is freely available to 315 million Arabic-speaking people, comprising the world's 5th largest linguistic group. Wow, we have a reason to be proud on this day. So I hope you look closely at the characters of the Arabic text shown and bring into consciousness the possibility that some spiritual seeker, likely in the Middle East, is also reading each character and knowing, maybe for the first time, that God has triumphed and continues to triumph each moment of the day. This message about the open pathway from the metaphysical into the mystical heart has given hope to millions and brought many of them into the Unity movement. And her gift, Emily Cady's gift of to the Western spiritual seeker, is now being passed on to many more millions in a most troubled region of our world. So this was sent in an email that went out this morning from Unity Minister Mark Hicks. And I'm so grateful that it arrived in my inbox this morning so that I could share it with you. So with that, welcome. Welcome to Unity Santa Fe, where we support, nourish, and inspire one another to remember and to remind each other of not only that truth that we just discussed, but of our oneness and divinity in general. Okay. Hi, everybody. You know, I have to say something about Zoom that that I hope Don Miller's okay with me sharing, that he shared yesterday. And he said, you know, when he's gone to, you know, churches for the first time in the past, he just saw the backs of people's heads. But at least in Zoom, he gets to see your faces and your names. So I thought, wow, that's brilliant. I never thought of that. So another blessing that we may not have appreciated that Zoom offers us. So today's message, Becoming Available, will support you in availing yourself of infinite opportunities and possibilities. And so today, this is the first of a 7-part series based on Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith's Shift Network course, Tap into Infinite Abundance by Activating Enlightened Prosperity Consciousness. Wow, that's a mouthful. And I know to the extent that we embrace this message, we are more fully living our vision, mission, and core values, which I invite you to affirm together. Unity Santa Fe is a welcoming interspiritual community that celebrates the oneness and divinity of all creation. Our mission is to raise consciousness, transform lives, heal the planet, one person at a time, beginning with me. And our Unity Santa Fe core values are God first, awareness, joy, love, appreciation, and humble surrender. So I invite you to tap into the feeling tone that vision, mission, and those core values engender in you. Feel that feel-good feeling, and see yourself stepping more fully into this vision, this mission, these core values in every area of your life, every day of your life, out there where the rubber meets the road. Yay, us. And now,
surely the presence is in this place and all places and all creation. Knowing and accepting this, we behold the divine presence in all creation throughout the world without exception. Knowing that there are many paths to God, many names for God, many faces of God, but only one God. And God is expressing as all creation in all ways, always. In this knowing, we come together this morning to experience and express our oneness and divinity. And for the wisdom to live this daily in everything we think, say, and do, we say, thank you, Divine Creator, that it is so, and so it is. Amen. I am
ready, I am open to accept prosperity. I am present to the blessings and the gifts in store for me. The unlimited abundance and source within provides the health, the wealth, the happiness that comes from deep inside. I am ready, I am open to manifest my dearest dreams and to focus my intentions on the highest good for me. To remember to be present to all possibilities. I am ready, I am open, I am free. I am worthy of my prosperity. My mind is ready to believe. My heart is open to receive. My spirit overflows with grace and gratitude. I am ready. I am ready. I am ready. I am open to accept prosperity. I am present to the blessings and the gifts in store for me. The unlimited abundance that source within provides the health, the wealth, the happiness that comes from deep inside. I am ready, I am open to manifest my dearest dreams and to focus my intentions on the highest good for me. To remember to be present to all possibilities. I am ready, I am open, I am free. I am worthy of my prosperity. I am ready to embrace prosperity. I am ready.
wow. Knocked it out of the park. Catherine. That's super. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Really captured my message. We can go home now. Well, as might be said on this topic, if Dr. Phil were to speak on prosperity, he might say, how's your prosperity consciousness working for you? So my question is your prosperity supporting you in lack consciousness or abundance consciousness? They're both forms of prosperity consciousness. So this is the first of a 7-part series based on Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith's Shift Network course, Tap into Infinite Abundance by Activating Enlightened Prosperity Consciousness. So my heart's desire is for today's message to support you in availing yourself of infinite opportunities and possibilities. Well, the human condition that I always like to figure out what human condition is being addressed in my messages, and the human condition being addressed today is that many people are in lack consciousness. And that's a feeling tone of not enough. It's characterized by foreboding and fear and doubt and worry. And the spiritual solution to this human condition is raising your prosperity consciousness by knowing this is an abundant universe with more than enough for you, more than enough for me, more than enough for everyone, and availing yourself of its infinite opportunities and possibilities. So what is prosperity? Well, Michael Beckwith says that prosperity, I love this, is a feeling tone. That's a feeling tone. You feel it in your body of all needs met. A feeling tone of all needs met. That's prosperity. And to me, this is very different from a feeling tone of anxiety, worry, and doubt that is prevalent in the thought forms of race consciousness. Prosperity, he points out, is not about material possessions, even though we may have material possessions and manifest them with prosperity consciousness. But prosperity is about abundance, not of things. It's a field of energy, of unlimited substance that is everywhere present and can never be depleted or exhausted. And in Unity, we call this field of wealth substance. And it's called that by Michael and other people in New Thought as well. So this unlimited substance is available to anyone who develops their awareness of it and raises their consciousness in alignment with it. Beckwith reminds us that raised prosperity consciousness requires a level of practice in which the neurons of the brain shift in order to see reality differently, to see things differently. And with great passion, and any of you who've ever heard or seen Michael speak know he has great passion. And so with his great passion, he reminds us that you are an emanation of prosperity, which is the limitless nature of your being. It is your birthright, your inheritance. And your life is the very substance of that which is real and eternal and prosperous in terms of elegance, wealth, abundance, and opulence. And he asks us to be aware of what comes up. What happens in you when he says words such as this? and he says this and wants you to be aware of what comes up, because he wants us to bring into consciousness anything that might be limiting our personal experience of what he calls harmonizing prosperity. So a race prosperity consciousness is about seeing beyond the appearance and contraction of the relative world of lack and limitation, and seeing into the expansive, unlimited quantum field, the infinite consciousness of the absolute reality that is our birthright as beings of unbounded wisdom, love, and life. And he, the time to use this that we're talking about today is anytime, as a reminder to remember this truth whenever you find yourself in lack consciousness. I had the opportunity to remember this at 3 o'clock this morning when I allowed comments made by a realtor about me selling my house for less than I could have sold it for if I'd used a realtor, of course. So I got up and reviewed my notes for today's message and realigned my prosperity consciousness to work for me and not against me. And you may have heard me say in the past that I have to be careful about my Sunday message, because if I still have work to do, it will come up. So Michael suggests that we be aware that patterns become thought forms that then become perception and then become experience. So just by being aware of patterns, just our awareness of them begins to dismantle them. And as you bring them to conscious awareness, they're no longer operating in the dark, in the subconscious, as a mental habit, that auto think that runs on autopilot without your conscious participation. And these patterns include fear, worry, lack, limitation, self-loathing, not enoughness, and they're false beliefs that we've picked up during this human experience from family, from teachers, even friends, and the media. We've picked them up from what our Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore calls race consciousness. That's the consciousness of the human race. And if you want to know what race consciousness looks and sounds like, turn on the evening news or tap into social media. That's the consciousness of the human race that you may be subjecting your prosperity consciousness to unconsciously. So as you identify these patterns of thought, you are acknowledging them, and then you can deny them power over you. And in Unity, we use denials and affirmations. And a denial isn't a psychological denial of what's going on. Rather, it's a form of release. We sung that song, I Release, this morning. So we release through the power of denial. We deny these false beliefs power over us. We deny them the power to keep us or leave us in lack consciousness. And then once we have this awareness and we deny these false beliefs power over us, we can then align ourselves with the absolute truth of their opposites. Michael says it's like shining a light in a dark corner where before you couldn't see the dirt that was swept into the corner. But when you shine your light in the corner and you become aware of it, it begins to dissolve. Now, sometimes we have to use a broom, but it begins to dissolve into the nothingness from which it came, along with any unconscious self-sabotage that your subconscious mind has set up that has tripped you up. And you're able to realize these unconscious lies and claim the power of truth of your essence and the abundance of substance you are immersed in. As I was studying Michael's material, I recalled having a long-held belief, a lie, that I couldn't depend on others, that no one would help me, and that I had to do everything on my own. The expose of that lie happened when a Jungian therapist had me tell her my favorite children's story from my childhood. Imagine my surprise when I told her the story of the little red hen that I used to have my elderly aunt read to me over and over. Every time I saw Aunt Doll, I would say, tell me the story of the little red hen. Well, now this is not Henny Penny. Sometimes people mix up Henny Penny and the little red hen, but the little red hen, in fact, I just remembered, I have a little red hen that our former member and friend, Mary Ruth, made for me. Here's my little red hen, okay? To remind me not to be in little red hen consciousness. And I just remembered it. Anyway, the little red hen is the one who received the same reply of everyone of whom she asked, who will help me? She asked all her animal friends, and they all said the same thing. Not I. Not I, said the pig. Not I, said the cow. Not I, said even the dog said not I. Obviously, it wasn't a border collie. So she did everything herself. No one would help her plant the wheat, care for the wheat, harvest the wheat, take the wheat to market, or bake the bread. But surprise, surprise, they were all more than willing to help her eat the bread when she made it. And so to that, she said, nope, I did all the work, so I'll eat the bread. And she ate the whole thing. Oh, geez. With that came another expose. No wonder food has been my drug of choice my entire life. Now, my story was a real experience, but it was based on a lie. And the truth is, we live in a field of infinite potential, surrounded by limitless love and intelligence that supports us fully and completely. And while we may not have received the safety, the support, or the abundance from people that were physically visible in our lives, whether it was our mother, father, uncles, cousins, friends, or associates, but even though it may not have been there in physical manifestation, underneath us, there has always been and always will be an invisible, non-physical field of love, intelligence, and unlimited prosperity, supporting, nourishing, and inspiring us. And as we expand our awareness of this substance, we develop prosperity thoughts and prosperity feelings, the feeling tone of all needs met. All needs met. A feeling tone of enoughness. And we know that we're spiritual beings having this human experience. And as spiritual beings, we have access to this everywhere present, inexhaustible substance that underlies everything that is. We are, in fact, the instruments through which this substance of abundance flows. So we've got to keep ourselves as channels of this abundance open and clear. And this means that we actually live, move, and have our being in a field of unlimited possibilities that can only be blocked by a consciousness of lack and limitation, a belief in not enoughness. So here's what Michael wants you to notice about the feeling tone of prosperity in your life. So do you have that feeling that all of your needs are always being met? And is that feeling consistent, or is it inconsistent just some of the time? Well, if so, Michael agrees with psychoneurobiologists and other teachers like Dr. Joe Dispenza that it's time to create new neuronets, new thoughts, new thought patterns, new attitudes, a raised prosperity consciousness. And when we do that, these new neuronets actually dissolve old neuronets of old thoughts, old thought patterns, old perceptions, old attitudes. And these new neuronets dissolve the feeling tone of lack consciousness and create a new feeling tone of all needs met, so that you live in a state of permanent prosperity, no matter what, no matter what's going on in the relative world of appearances and lack. So no matter what, your connection to source, your feeling tone of all needs met provides wisdom. It provides guidance, direction, inspiration. Your feeling tone of all needs met is a prosperity consciousness that allows you to see beyond appearances with an expanded awareness that, as Flo from the Life Cafe says, an inspiration that reveals unlimited opportunities and possibilities that become an adventure in prosperity consciousness, an adventure of bringing good into expression. Now, how do we develop this prosperity consciousness, this feeling tone of all needs met? Well, you guessed it, prayer and meditation. On the cushion in formal practice and off the cushion in micro hits throughout the day. And formal practice, even when we're exercising or taking a walk with the dog or a friend, we can formally practice prosperity consciousness. We can deny lies to have power over us, these lies that are false beliefs. And then we can affirm truth and give that truth power in our lives by creating new thought neuronets that work for us and not against us. Michael Beckwith shares a statement he loves, and I love it too. The statement is, a lie believed acts as law until neutralized. I'm going to say that 2 more times. A lie believed acts as law until neutralized. A lie believed acts as law until neutralized. So your job, your how-to and mine, is to neutralize the laws that are based on lies of lack and limitation, which may have become your personal law that is limiting you. Your job, your how-to, is to change your laws to laws of absolute truth, including, I'm good enough, I am worthy. This is an abundant universe, and there's more than enough for me and everyone else. I am supported by and can depend on the allness of all that is. I am prosperity in action. I receive a daily email from the Enneagram Institute, and today's Ennea Thought also provides a how-to that is in alignment with Beckwith's advice. Self-observation is necessary if we are to become free of our unthinking mechanical reactions. If we do not observe ourselves, we cannot ever hope to be our own master. We will be like marionettes, yanked by every impulse, tugging on our strings. That's from Enneagram Transformations. And the Ennea thought invites us to contemplate this truth from understanding the Enneagram. We must be willing to be uncomfortable for a while if we wish to be released from whatever has bound us. And so to me, that uncomfortableness is what happens when we begin to do things differently. You've heard me maybe say, cross your arms and notice which arm is on top. Is it your left arm or your right arm? Then uncross your arms and recross them with the other arm on top. And to most people, it feels a little weird. It feels a little uncomfortable because we have to consciously think to do it. Otherwise, we're automatically going to do it the same way every time. So your call to action is to become aware of what in you is stifling your prosperity consciousness. What in you is blocking a feeling tone of all needs met in order to avail yourself of infinite opportunities and possibility. And let's begin experiencing this awareness right now, being together, being one together in a sacred time of shared prayer. So I invite you to stretch up and settle in, relaxing the body, clearing the mind, and opening the heart. And in this relaxed state of being, notice what Michael wants you to notice when you hear these words of his. What comes up when you hear him say through my voice, "You are surrounded by infinite opportunities"? Are there any lies or superstitions or beliefs that are operating that seem contrary to this, that in fact seem very normal to you? What words are you hearing in your mind in response to his statement, all your needs are met right now, all of them? What is your mind saying? Do you hear any thoughts of lack or limitation? When Michael says, you are a field of infinite abundance, what comes up for you? When he says, everything is working together for your good right now, what do you hear yourself saying to yourself? Are these self-sabotaging thoughts? When Michael says you are powerfully supported all the time, what bubbles up? How about you are rich beyond measure? Wealth is your real nature, your divine inheritance. What thoughts show up when you hear those words? Michael reminds us this is not a judgment exercise. It is an awareness exercise. So you can see how you may have been using the law of manifestation and identify any personal laws that have been built upon lies. Lies that are preventing you from having a direct encounter with the truth that makes you free. This is an exercise identifying personal laws that are out of alignment with the truth that we live in a quantum field of infinite potential and infinite possibilities. So if you've identified any of these lies that you identify with, deny these lies power over you. He gives this process to take a breath. And as you release that breath, say to these lies, I do not belong to you anymore. And then inhale and release. You do not belong to me any longer. Inhale and release. I do not belong to you any longer. Inhale and release. I see you. You can't hide from me anymore. You can't run my show anymore. You cannot influence my perception, my speech, or my actions. You cannot influence my perception, my thoughts, my speech, my conversations, my actions. Michael says we have to make a habit of denying these lies power over us. So as a result of this, you're going to be increasingly aware of the lies you tell yourself. Anything that does not stand in the light of the truth of I live in a field of infinite potential, infinite possibilities, the land of abundance, the land of wealth, the land of energy, anything that contradicts that, you are going to remember are lies, and you are going to deny these lies the power to hold back your prosperity. And even if you see evidence or hear evidence to the contrary, you remember that while you are living in that world, you are no longer of that world. You are now living in a field of unlimited, infinite potential and possibilities. And Michael promises, as you're slowly but surely changed, your reaction to what looks like reality is to stand strong in the truth and allow change to happen within you. Allow your thoughts, your perceptions, your attitudes to change. Allow yourself to be inspired from this limitless field of infinite potential. Allow your conversations to change and become filled with possibility and potential rather than with problems. Allow your conversation to be filled with vision instead of victimhood. And then just watch as your actions slowly start to change and become coherent with the truth of your being, that you are now living in this prosperity consciousness of all needs met. In this field of consciousness that you are a field of abundance, wealth, harmonizing prosperity, opulence, and elegance. You're carrying this feeling tone of all needs met. Your consciousness is raised to a harmonizing prosperity consciousness with this feeling of all needs met. And as this shift of perceptions happens, even if it's slowly, it's surely, and you gradually see evidence of this raised prosperity consciousness. Manifestations occur in seeming coincidences, serendipity, and small miracles. Things begin to show up in your life, and you say to yourself, how did that happen? I didn't plan it. I didn't exert any wailing or gnashing of teeth. I don't even feel like I made any effort. I just happened to meet that person that provided me that opportunity. That idea just came to me out of the blue and provided great prosperity in my life. So little by little, you become the dynamic of this living, potent field of infinite potential that subconsciously becomes your new law. and your new life. So Michael asks you to now consider a moment in your life in which you felt that all your needs were met, no matter how it happened. And then capture and be captured by the feeling tone of what it felt like to have all your needs met, not being anxious about the future. And as you do so, your soul is recalling this feeling. And if by any chance you cannot recall such a memory, then use your imagination. Imagine what would it feel like if all your needs were met. Put yourself into that vision. And whether you're accessing this feeling through memory or imagination doesn't matter. Your mind can't tell the difference. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference, and neither does your body. All it recognizes is that feeling tone of all needs met. And then use your breath to allow the feeling tone of all needs met to be amplified and multiplied. You're making the breath into what Michael calls a sacred activation of the feeling tone of all needs met. So you bring that deep inhalation to its apex and you hold it there for a moment. You sustain it as long as you can while you feel all needs met. And as you do so, your nervous system is coming into a state of coherence around this feeling tone. And now, release it with a sigh of ah, and put a big smile on your face. And then repeat the process. Inhale that feeling tone of all needs met. Sustain it at the apex. Amplify it, magnify it. Release it with the sigh of ah and another big smile on your face. Again, one more time. Inhale the feeling tone of all needs met. Sustain it at its apex. Allow it to magnify and then release it with a sigh and a smile. And now, with a deep sense of gratitude and thanksgiving, recall something you're grateful for. It can be anything. And let this feeling of gratitude bring you into a field of gratitude and thanksgiving. Remembering that you are living, all of us are living, moving and having our being in a field of infinite prosperity, infinite abundance, infinite good, limitless love, intelligence, and know that this feeling of gratitude is right now raising your prosperity consciousness to a feeling tone of all needs met. And feel this feeling now in a few minutes of silence. Silence in that feeling tone of gratitude, that feeling tone of prosperity and all needs met. As you gently bring your attention back to this time and place, silently say, thank you, divine nature as prosperity, for the wisdom to avail myself of infinite opportunities and possibilities by activating enlightened prosperity consciousness. Thank you for the wisdom to remain in the feeling tone of all my needs met right now. Thank you for the wisdom to take this feeling tone with me in every moment of my day. Thank you for the wisdom to make this my mantra. All needs met. All needs met. All needs met. Thank you, divine nature as prosperity. Thank you, thank you, thank you that it is so, and so it is, and so I am. Amen.
Spirit of love, I'm one with thee. Spirit of truth, you help me see all of the good that lives in me. And I say thank you for all that is and all that will be. My happiness is of my own making. Peace in my heart is mine to choose, and freedom is mine for the taking. When I stand up and walk in my truth. Spirit of love, I'm one with thee. Spirit of truth, you help me see all of the good that lives in me. And I say thank you for all that is and all that will be. Each step I take is part of a journey, leading me to the light inside, and no fear or doubt can disturb me when I trust in your love as my guide. Spirit of love, I'm one with thee. Spirit of truth, you help me see all of the good that lives in me. And I say thank you for all that is and all that will be. Thank you for all the love you've given to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And thank you, dear Catherine. And I know you live that message. You live in gratitude. So this is the time in service when you have an opportunity to experience the divine paradox that it is in giving we receive. So as you listen to the offering song, take a moment to either bless the offering you've already sent, write the check you would have written in the sanctuary, or click on the give link that Tanya is posting in the chat box now. And know that whether you mail a check or give through online banking or give on the webpage, this is your opportunity to give as source of Unity Santa Fe, a source of yours and others' spiritual nourishment. And so join me in a virtual love offering candle lighting by seeing yourself going to the altar in our sanctuary, with your purse slip and your gift, and feel the feeling tone of joy of giving as you light a candle and remember that you are the light of the world. And as you place your candle on a bed of salt and remember that you are the salt of the earth. And as you place your gifts in a virtual basket on the altar. So, Catherine, as we hold that vision, thank you for blessing us.
So many blessings I have received that I may live abundantly. I live abundantly, so I may offer as much as it is mine to give abundantly. I give abundantly. I never give 'cause someone says I should. I give because it feels so good. It feels sublime to give of my time, to share all my talents, the gifts of the divine. It is a pleasure to give of my treasure, knowing all returns to me in ways I cannot measure. There are so many blessings I have received that I may live abundantly. I live abundantly, so I may offer as much as it is mine to give abundantly. I give abundantly. I never give 'cause someone says I should. I give because it feels so good. I give because it feels so good. Oh yes, I give because it feels so good. It was interesting.
So let's now bless our offering. In a universe overflowing with unlimited abundance, all the needs of Unity Santa Fe and those we serve are bountifully met from every direction, known and unknown, expected and unexpected. Our abundant good comes to us now. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all I am, all I have, all I joyously give, and all I joyously receive. Feel the joy, feel the gratitude, feel the generosity. Allow it to permeate every cell and atom of your body, your heart, your soul, your mind, creating new neural nets of joy and gratitude and generosity that, like a magnet, attract more and more to be grateful for, joyful about, and generous with. That's the truth. And so it is. Amen. So now I'd like to welcome anyone who is with us for the first time. And if you're here for the first, the second, or the third time, just type your name in the chat if you are willing to do so that we can welcome you. And if you'd like to be placed on our mailing list, you can email communications@unitysantafe.org. communications@unitysantafe.org. And Tanya will be delighted to place you on the email list. And I'd love to hear from you and be in touch one-on-one to get to know each other.